What did we learn yesterday again? We started to look at sine law, right? I give you a bunch of review stuff, right? Like different triangles, but we focused on sine law. And what tells us that we're going to have to use sine law? How do we recognize this is a pair, a known pair? Okay. Here's what I'm going to tell you today, that sometimes there's a hidden pair. There's a pair that at first glance it seems like there's nothing there, but when you look carefully, there is a pair. Okay, so what I want you to do with me real quick here. I'm looking for a place to add this. Okay, maybe I'll just wait for it to show up, and then I'll talk about it. But what I want you to do is every time you have two angles, you're going to find the third one immediately. Okay? Because that's when the pair shows up. That's when the pair will show up. So at the top of 263, we're going to put sine law, nice and big like that. But now we're going to deal with angles. Finding the missing angle. Okay? We're now going to find missing angles. Let me just get this figured out here. So, you look at this and they're asking for angle A and angle C, right? So this angle right here and that right there, okay? You should at least identify the pair. I'm going to use a highlighter for that. In this case, it's very clear, okay, that you have a pair. You have the side. So in a bit, right, a couple days from now, you're going to have to choose between sine law and cosine law. But because of that pair, you know that sine law is your go-to, okay? So let's go ahead and solve this. I always take the pair and set it up right away. And I'll tell you this, guys. An angle, when you're doing these questions, needs to be paired up with sine or cosine. You cannot have an angle just sitting up by itself, okay? Over the side length, 123.2 meters. You don't need to put the units down the road, okay? Like it's okay, but for now, for our notes, I am putting the units down, okay? Then you ask yourself, you need to be smart about this, okay? What are you going to put on the other side? What else are you given? Yeah, side A. Let's do that. Let's put side A here. This is lowercase a, and across from angle C, we have lowercase c, right? Remember that, the labeling, that's standard. You put C there. So if I'm given side A, I'm going to put that here where my side is. It's also in the denominator on that end, right? So you have your sides paired up. So what angle are you going to find as a result? You're going to find angle A, all right? So we have to put this down, sine of A. Because remember, an angle has to be glued to either sine law or cosine law. Okay? So you're going to be tempted to just put A down. You can't do that, okay? You have to make sure. Let's do that here. Common error. Because it sticks out when you do that, right? You do sine of 81 over 123.2 sine of A. Sorry, that's the error that I want you to have actually. Just A over 91.6, okay? This is wrong, okay? This is wrong. Can't do that. So that's just a little aside because I see that too often, right? Common error is to not have sine associated with it. Okay, so now they're treated the same way as before. This is your variable, so to speak. So you start here and you cross multiply up, you divide down. So you cross multiply, then divide. So watch what I'm doing carefully here. I'm going sine of A, right? I treat this as my variable, as if this is x, okay? And on the other side, I go 91.6 times sine of 81. You can handle brackets, right? Yes. You can handle brackets. And watch what I'm going to do now. Usually I don't like a choo-choo train, but this is going to save you a little bit of time. And this is actually mathematically correct. Let's type this in and get a number. And remember this, guys. Look at me while I'm saying this. It will start with a 0. It'll be 0 point something. If it's not, you're going to get an error. It's going to be wrong. Your calculator is actually going to say math error or E or something. It's not going to be able to do it. So let's go ahead and grab our calculators. If you don't have one, please take one because you need to know how to type this in, right? $91.6. Yeah, go ahead. Washroom, right? Not halls. Okay, ready? So here it is. I typed it all in. This is what you should be getting. You try that. See if your calculator gives you the same. See if you can fix it if it's not giving you that, right? So I'm going to leave this on the screen. Write it down like this. Watch. Dot, dot, dot. I'm not going to round. Don't round. Okay? If you need to round, because sometimes you have a calculator that's just not very user-friendly, use up to 5 decimals, okay? That's what I would suggest, then you're not going to have issues. But watch this next step. So we set up our proportion, we cross-multiply and divide. We decided that this is what we're getting. So watch this step right here, third line. Angle A will be, do you remember how to get an angle when you did SOHCAHTOA? Inverse. You remember that? It has that negative on top, so it's like this: sine inverse, and then you put bracket, whatever you got up there. So you had good teachers last year, if you remember that. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. So then watch what I'm going to do on my calculator, and this might be different from yours. But I'm going to go shift or second. Okay, it depends on what kind of calculator you have. I'm pressing shift, and then I'm going to press sine, and that appears. And then I'm going to press equals. And that is now my angle, which is 47.25 degrees. And you're like, hold it, I'm not getting that. Are you having issues with your calculator? Can I have that? Because I want to fix it. Like if you're having issues. Okay, so this calculator is set to degrees. So let's do that side by side here. So I'm going to clear my screen. Okay, it knows how to add. Okay, so watch this. Second round, 91.6 times sine of 81 equals, I'm going to divide that by 123.2 equals, I get the same number as I had before. Then I'm going to go second function, sine, and let's see, this guy might complain. Let's see. Oh no, it worked. 47.25. So it works with this one. I don't know. Anybody do you have issues with yours? No, because that's a different one. I don't recognize that. Okay, so if you have a decent calculator, this should be a non-issue. But sometimes you do have trouble. So there we go. Now we know how many angles. Yes, which means we know all. Exactly. So we have right? We know 2 out of 3 angles. Therefore, you want to know a new symbol in math? Have you ever seen the 3 dots like that? That stands for therefore in math. Okay, therefore, which angle are we missing? Angle C is 180. Where did I get the 180 from? Sum of angles in a triangle is always 180. So I'm going to go minus angle B minus angle A. I'm showing you how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go 180 minus 81 minus 47.25. And so yes, we always round our answers to 2 decimals once we get it. Okay, so angle C is, what is it, 51.75? Okay, so now you're done. Could I now find side C? Yeah, because I have the angle across from it. It goes both ways. If you have the angle, you can find the side. If you have the side, you can find the angle. Let's go ahead and do that because we got to remember how to do stuff, right? So let's use, that's why I got rid of all the answers, guys. I don't know if these booklets, they have like, this would have taken this book 3 pages to solve, and it's not necessary, okay? I don't know why they make it so complicated. So solve for side C. I want you to do that right now. Solve for side C. See if you get the same as everybody else, okay? It's very important that you wrap your head. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting, okay? Pay attention, please. It gets interesting, and I will do this 2 ways, okay? I would always encourage you to use the pair that is given to you to start off, but you don't have to. So I'm going to go sine of 81 over 123.2. And I'm going to find, right, I'm going to use that angle that I just solved for to find side C. Please show this intermediate step, okay? Don't be trying to cut corners, right? It usually bites you, right? What do we get? 97.96? 97.96, okay, I'm going with it. And we are in meters when it comes to side length. So there we have it. Or do you have another pair that you could have used technically? Yeah, and it better work out, right? It should, it has to, or else there's something wrong with the sine law, right? So you're like, what other pair are you talking about? Right, A, we figured out that this is 47, this angle right here is 47.25, right? We figured that out right here. So technically this is also a pair, right? This is technically also a pair that you could use if you wanted to. You've just found another one. So I'm going to try that real quick. Sine of 47.25 over 91.6. And there's usually you're a little bit off because of rounding. And that's okay, right? And this is sine of 51.75 over C. C is therefore 91.6 times sine of 51.75 divided by sine of 47. At least type this in with me, okay? You don't need to, if you don't want to copy this, this is fine. But I encourage you to do so. Let's just double check because we could be wrong, right? (97.96), exactly the same. So what I will do in your notes is I will keep this first pair orange, right? So this is the pair that I got right at the beginning, and then I'm showing you that, right, this is the other pair. So you both pairs got you there. So the more you know about a triangle, the more ways there are to solve it. Okay. So that's why sine law, if you go back to the original formula, it's saying that if you were to take all the angles on the sides and divide them, you get the same, right? Like I'm talking about this one here, okay? They are all equal to each other. All right, that's and this, we're gonna turn up the heat a little bit, not in the cabin, but when it comes to this. Okay, so don't get too comfortable, because I know, like, most of you, you look at one example, you're like, I got it, right? But trust me, there's gonna be some curveballs there. So flip over. I want you to, when you go to page 264, I'm going to put a twist to this one. Okay. I want you to scratch this, and I want you to solve each triangle. Okay, so 264, solve each triangle. What does that mean? All sides, all angles. And sometimes it seems like a daunting task, but there's really just 3 things you need to solve for, right? They give you 3, you need to find the other 3. And so go ahead and do that. And then I will compare, I will go over the answers, see how we do. Use your space wisely, okay? Like don't like use this space, then that space. And if you have 2 angles, find the third one right away. So I'll pause it here. Following my YouTube followers. It's growing. At some point they'll be able to retire and just cash in. So this is the last one. If you want to look at it there real quick. Yeah. Did you get 80? You got 90? Yeah, this is a 9. So even if you're not quite ready, write these down so that you can review them at some point. I'm going to go with the majority here when it comes to the middle. What do we get for angle H? 37.61? Okay, that's easy. Just get my students to make the key for me. And then angle G would just be this and this, right? Subtract from 180. What is it? 90.39. Almost a right triangle, correct? Almost, not quite. So couldn't use SOHCAHTOA though. Technically, if it's off, right? And side G, 20.81. That was easy too. I like that. So this is just basic, no word problem, just solve the thing, right? So the nice thing is, if you just know how to solve, you can often just answer the questions, right? The word problems, like it's like, I don't know, I'm just gonna start solving things. And then you're like, oh yeah, this is the one they're after, right? So if you want to take that approach, take it. There will be at least one question on the test where you have to draw your own triangle, and I will guide you through that, okay? Most triangles are provided, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Okay? So we're done this page, 264. Let's move on a little bit. Or do you need a little bit more time? Just a little bit. Okay, I'll pause for a couple minutes if you want to finish that. If you're an adventurist and you'd like to give 265 a go, I will go over it, so don't fill it up too much. But if you want to start thinking about how you would solve that one, you back. Okay. Right, so here we go, guys. 265. Pay attention. Miguel is an arborist. He needs to calculate the height of the tree that he will be removing from the construction site. Okay. The tree is leaning, right? It's leaning at an angle of 85 degrees with the ground. That's important. Like it's with the ground that 85-degree angle is constructed. Miguel stands 30 meters, right, from the base of the tree. So very important, the wording. Miguel stands over here, 30 meters from the base of the tree, and calculates the angle of elevation to the top to be 32 degrees. You remember angle of elevation and depression? What's always important about them? What has to be there? A horizontal line. All right. So it makes sense, right? The ground and the line going up, so that is an angle of elevation. We're good. So what's the length of the tree? Let's put it, there's a variable there. Make sure it's visible. That is what they want, okay? And here, I want you to put at the very top, hidden pair. That's why I said I'm just going to wait for now. Hidden pair, okay? So what does that mean, Mr. Dirksen, hidden pair? I don't know what you're talking about. Is there at first glance a pair in this triangle? There's, right, I know this angle, don't know this side. Know this angle, don't know this side. So, but when you have two angles, you really have the third one, don't you? Okay, so find angle T. I always want you to do that. When you have two angles, find the third one. So we're going to go 180 minus, so follow, okay? Write this down. Okay, and so when you subtract that from 180, you get 63 degrees. Very important to us. So I'm going to put that 63 in here with that red pen so that you can tell that has been added later. Okay, and then I'm going to say, hey, I now have a pair, right? I have that pair nice and visible there. Yeah, it's almost like light is shining down like a spotlight, right? This is making, so this is my pair. Perfect. So I'm going to use sine law, right? Soon it's going to change. That's why I'm making it so obvious, right? So sine of 63 degrees over 30 meters, okay, meters. And what goes on the other side? Now you have to pick. And if you pick the wrong one, you're solving for the wrong side. You're solving for this side, correct? So you got to look across the other angle that's across from it, okay? So sine of 32. How about we do that? Like we're like, okay, if this is the side that they want, then we need to look at this angle, correct? That's kind of another pair happening there. So sine of 32 over m, that's what is being called here. So this is just solving for the missing side. So really, it's nothing new except for maybe the hidden pair piece, which you actually already knew. You knew that. You knew what you had to do to get that pair. You just didn't see it, right? So let's solve this. This is, if you multiply and divide, you get 1784, but we're not done yet. Okay? Length of tree. Length of tree. That's not the height of the tree. That is the length of the tree, right? So from the bottom to the top, along, if you were to measure along the tree, that is the length. But how do you measure height? We had that discussion just now, Zach. A fictional, you draw a fictional line. Like it's going to be like this, where you make that 90 happen. So watch what I'm going to do here. follow me to B, okay? Because that's what we're doing next. Calculate the height of tree. Measure at 90 degrees with the ground. That is the important thing to remember. You measure it at a 90 degree with the ground. So I wish I could have the whole thing up, but watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go up, one more time. And I'm going to make that fictional line, if you can. That right there is the height, okay? That's the height. And this is a very narrow triangle, correct? I'm going to cut it out. So follow me down here. Let's cut it out. Cut it out. We're going to exaggerate. We're going to make it bigger. But there's my 90. I know this one, right? This is 1784. I just figured it out, right? We just calculated that one. What else do I know? What else do I know about this triangle? Look up. The 85, yes, put it here. 85. And so this is my height, correct? Do you have a pair in that triangle? Yes, you have a pair. What haven't I used yet? Orange. There. So we have a pair. Sine of 90. Please write this down before you pack, okay? Sine of 90 over that, and then sine of 85 over h, okay? So it's this, right? So it's 1784 times sine of 85 divided by sine of 90. And here's something interesting that's going to happen. Okay? Watch what's going to happen. Follow me here. 17.84 times sine of 85 equals. Okay? Watch what's going to happen now. Are you looking at my calculator up here? Divided by sine of 90. Did it change? No. So let's write this down first and I'll tell you why. Almost the same, right? Almost the same. The length and the height are almost the same because it's such a small slant, right? It's not a big slant. But this is what I want you to know. Sine of 90 is what? Yeah, sine of 90 is just 1. You can always remember that. It's easy to remember, okay? Anyways, yesterday I assigned page 1 in the workbook. You couldn't do the angles yet. So if you want to do 1 and 2 today, then today's your day, okay? Workbook. Thank you, guys.